What a surprise. This is Nas's third time in this series so far. He just has a lot of lost/found media throughout his career, and this one I'm about to get into is insane. The year is 1999, and a music video directed by Hype Williams was produced for Nas's single Hate Me Now, featuring Diddy off of his album I Am. Now today, we do have an official video for Hate Me Now, but there was controversy behind the original version of the video. The controversy being that the video depicted Nas and Diddy being crucified, among other things. After shooting for the video was completed, Diddy had second thoughts about his crucifixion scene. Diddy is religious. I'm pretty sure he's Catholic, I want to say, and there's a story floating around that he went to his priest or pastor. I've seen both mentioned in numerous articles that I read regarding this incident, but I obviously know the difference between the two. But anyway, that's besides the point. He met with one or the other and decided that he wanted his crucifixion scene cut from the video. 3 days before the video was set to air, Diddy reached out to Nas's manager at the time, Steve Stout, multiple times, in which he requested that all footage of him interacting with the cross be removed. However, there seemed to be an error in communication, with the original version of the video premiering on MTV's music video countdown show, Total Request Live, or TRL for short. Diddy was watching live, and within minutes of the video premiere, Diddy and his bodyguards allegedly assaulted Steve Stout in his office. There's stories of the champagne bottle being broken on Steve Stout's head and such, but anyways, that episode of TRL would re-air 5 hours later, and by that time, the original cut of the video was swapped with the version having all the offensive scenes edited out. In this Los Angeles Times article I read, it said that Diddy went to a pastor, and they interviewed the pastor that he went to, which is named Pastor Hezekiah Walker. Walker would say that he told Diddy that it was blasphemous for him to wear the crown of thorns, and that he also objected to Diddy's use of profanity, as well as an image of a black crow landing on the cross. Diddy did approve an edit of the video on April 11th, and Columbia Records, who Nas was under at the time, delivered the video to MTV on April 12th. MTV's screening committee would then review the video that day and then ask Columbia to delete several images involving drinking and obscenity that the network deemed offensive. However, though, the crucifixion scene was not among the cuts requested by MTV. Like I said earlier, there were sources close to Diddy who said that he tried to reach out to Steve Stout several times to tell him that the cuts needed to be made before the video aired. It was then reported that Steve Stout put in several return calls to Walker that went unanswered before Columbia Records returned the video, with their crucifixion scene still in it, to MTV on April 15th when the video was set to premiere. That was done around 1 p.m. and at 2 p.m., Walker would speak on the phone with Steve Stout about the concerns with the video and allegedly was promised that those concerns would be resolved before the video aired. After this, Walker would then visit Diddy in his recording studio with 2 ministers to tell him that everything had been settled. Around 4:20 that day is when the video aired. Yeah, y'all can laugh and get your 420 jokes off or whatever. But the video would air and the unedited crucifixion scene appeared, and Diddy was shocked. He reportedly told the pastor that he would be back in a few minutes, but he never returned. I'm sorry, but I hate to laugh at this situation, but this is wild. I expected this to be like a 2-minute like get in, get out story, and I thought that I knew like everything about the situation, but this LA Times article is just like wild. But Diddy would obviously get into legal trouble, but I don't want to get into all that for this segment. If y'all want to know more about the situation in full, definitely let me know in the comment section below, because it's more like layers to this, like I promise you. However, there is no video of Diddy being on the cross, but in 2020, Hype Williams posted a picture of him, Nas, and Diddy on the set of the video, and Diddy is on the cross. In conclusion, the original video was aired to the public at one point of time before it was quickly replaced with another version. We may never ever see the original version of the Hate Me Now video, but we do have a picture of Diddy on the cross. I was scrolling on the Lost Media Wiki and I came across this and was intrigued. I've gotten recommended to talk about Kanye's scrap show alligator boots in this series, but I wasn't interested in talking about it because of how many people already know about it and have made videos on it. I haven't really seen too many people talk about what I'm about to talk about, but according to the Lost Media Wiki article about this Untitled Kanye West comedy project, it says that in January of 2007, HBO announced the development of an Untitled comedy series from Larry Charles starring Kanye West. This project was said to focus on a day in the busy life of Kanye with events inspired by Kanye's actual experiences. By 2008, the project was shelved indefinitely. A pilot was shot but never officially released, and despite an unofficial screening in 2013, only a few minutes of footage have surfaced online. Here's a clip of the footage from this project that we do have available.
Is he here?
Yeah, he's right in front of you.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm with the Make-A-Wish kid. I can't even see him right now. I'm trying to do this thing with my hoodie, and you're calling me right now. Hello? Is he here?
Yeah, he's to your left again. Right there, right
Hold
there.
on. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm with the Make-A-Wish kid.
Julio, could you put the PSP down maybe and talk to Kenny a little bit?
Kanye.
I'm sorry?
Kanye.
Oh, I'm from Ohio. We say Kenny. That's how we pronounce it.
Well, I don't care where you're from. You pronounce my name Kanye.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Kanye.
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 Yeah, okay.
Like Kanye Rogers. Island in the stream.
Who's your favorite artist? Who do you like?
Lil Wayne. R. Kelly's cool. Lloyd. I like DJ Unk and Walk It Out. That was real cool.
What? Do you like any of my songs?
They're okay.
For those who's wondering who Larry Charles is, well, he had previously worked on shows in movies such as Seinfeld, Borat, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Entourage, and was attached to the project as executive producer and director. Kanye had previously met with NBC to discuss the idea of creating a television series, but nothing came of it until HBO put him in contact with Larry Charles. In order to prepare for the series, Kanye had Matt Besser come to his house to receive private lessons on improv. The majority of the episode featured Kanye surrounded by a cast of people, including his cousin KC, who's played by Wyatt Cenac, his manager, who's played by JB Smoove, his bodyguard, who's played by Leonard Harris, aka GLC, and his mother, played by Kim Whitley. Speaking of Wyatt Cenac, or Cenac, we'll talk about him a little bit more later in the segment, but in a 2013 interview with Vulture magazine, he confirmed what Larry Charles said in a 2008 interview about Kanye thinking of himself as the Black Larry David. He also said that Kanye wanted to make a Curb Your Enthusiasm type show, and also acknowledged that shows like Entourage and Sex in the City were other influences. Despite Kanye getting lessons on improv, he soon realized that he wasn't the best improviser in the cast and would give away parts initially meant for him to do. HBO ordered a half-hour show, so Kanye, being Kanye, went ahead and sent them a 1-hour episode. This would lead to the episode being returned by the network with instructions to cut it down to 30 minutes. Those extra 30 minutes featured interviews with people like Cornel West, Nelson George, and Boyce Watkins talking about the impact of Kanye and his music. HBO would end up giving Larry Charles $400,000 in 5 days to shoot the pilot. This is what Larry Charles had to say in an interview. HBO, it wasn't like they were super excited. They gave us very little money, but I will embrace that. If I think we can do something great and this is the only way we can do it, let's try. Kanye was very open to it, and in the way Seinfeld was smart about this and Jack Benny was smart about this, he was not afraid to have the people around him be really funny and be a straight man for them. I wanted to give it a structure and a vibe that was more true to Kanye and his world than the Curb style. We wrote an outline and excerpt for certain lines that needed to be said, improvised a lot of it. But you're improvising with 10 people, which was a great challenge. I like getting into this Altman-esque thing where there are a lot of people going around talking and overlapping, because that's Kanye's world. That kind of barely contained chaos. Throughout July and August of 2008, the show was still in development and the network was reportedly looking for a writer to move forward with it. However, in September of 2008, Larry would do an interview about the show and he would say this: "It was really good, but again, I think it was too hardcore for HBO. Also, HBO's management shifted, but HBO doesn't have a good track record when it comes to black shows, and I felt like that may have had something to do with it also. I don't see a lot of shows about that experience at all. This was very entertaining and we showed it to a lot of people. People gave it a very good response and it seems to be on the shelf right now. The management has shifted at HBO, so we're waiting to see." In October, MTV posted an article saying that they reached out to a rep from HBO and said that she had no knowledge of the show's status, noting that the show has been in development for some time and adding that until it is actually shot or picked up as a pilot, she didn't have any info. Obviously, we all know that the show would never happen, but in 2010, there was a 4-minute clip from the pilot that was uploaded to YouTube. It went unnoticed until 2013 when Gawker and other news outlets reported on it, leading to the clip being removed from YouTube. A week after it was rediscovered, Wyatt Cenac, who I mentioned earlier, played Kanye's cousin KC in the pilot, screened the full 30-minute cut of the pilot during his weekly stand-up show Night Train in Brooklyn, New York. The screening was unannounced, but Wyatt didn't have permission from HBO to show it. What's interesting is that while he screened the pilot, him and Questlove would provide commentary, giving background information about the production. Some of the things that were said was the story of Kanye stopping production to take a call from Tom Cruise while everyone listened. He wanted Tom Cruise to be on the show and Tom Cruise declined, so Kanye got a Tom Cruise lookalike. But Wyatt also said that GLC refused to wear the makeup that the crew insisted on applying to reduce the sheen from his baldness. He eventually caved in under the condition that it was never called makeup and instead it will be called player powder. I'm done. That made my day. Like, no cap. Like, player powder. Like, so Wyatt would say that this would lead to frequent shout outs of, "I need to get my player powder looked at," on set. And he would say it and he delivered it in all seriousness. Player powder, could not make it up. One of the other things that we learned is that HBO thought that there wasn't enough Kanye, even though he has the most camera time, but he ultimately left himself with not much to do while he was on camera. The audience's reaction to the pilot was fairly mixed. You had a Gawker writer who described the leaked clip as probably the worst thing Kanye has ever created, but after he watched the full pilot, he called it one of the most crazy, wonderful pieces of television you can't imagine. Another thing a lot of people thought about the pilot upon seeing it in full is that they felt that it lagged. When asked about screening the pilot, Wyatt said this: "I figured if I did it as a surprise, there's nothing HBO could really do about it, except keep me out of HBO shows, which they're already doing." In conclusion, this pilot has been partially found on the internet, and it is unlikely that either cut of the pilot will ever see an official release. In 1999, thousands of dollars worth of vinyl records and a home recording studio belonging to Q-Tip of A Tribe Called Quest were destroyed in a fire in his home in Englewood, New Jersey at the time. The Englewood Fire Department's lieutenant said that the fire began on the ground floor of the 3-story townhouse where Q-Tip kept his extensive record collection and home studio. Q-Tip nor the other people in the house were injured. In an interview, Q-Tip says that he lost a number of unreleased songs in the fire, and at the time, Q-Tip was working on what would be A Tribe Called Quest's album called The Love Movement, which was originally named The Last Movement. In 2015, a member of A Tribe Called Quest, Phife Dawg, had this to say about the fire in an interview. Yeah, that was a fire that happened at Q-Tip's old house, and he lost the majority of his record collection as well as several recordings for that last album that he had. When asked if it was too far deep into the recording of the album, Phife Dawg said that they didn't have to start all over with the music, but said Q-Tip lost more of his record collection than the recordings per se. In 2013, Q-Tip spoke at the Red Bull Music Academy, and he would say this about the fire. And also around the time of Amplified, right around that time, I had a fire and had about maybe close to 20,000 records. I had all the stuff I worked on with Dilla, like All Tribe, like crazy stuff, and I lost everything. And I was in the house. Everything was just gone. Q-Tip thinks that the fire was very symbolic for him because he knew that he still had it in him to do music. He was faced with the challenge of not having records to chop and sample, so he studied music theory and played the piano along with other things. Phife Dawg thought that the fire really wasn't a big deal because he felt like A Tribe Called Quest never really missed a beat. He says that that's why it wasn't really talked about in the A Tribe Called Quest documentary. This is Phife Dawg's words, but I mean, I'm trying to give y'all multiple perspectives of this situation because out of everybody, the main people that I've found who has discussed it really is Phife Dawg and Q-Tip. Q-Tip would obviously know more about the situation though. Ever since I've talked about RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan's basement studio flooding twice and how much music they lost, people commented that I should mention what happened to Q-Tip. In conclusion, all those records and recordings are lost forever due to the fire. Jay Electronica is an interesting figure to say the least. A man that at times seems more like a myth instead of an actual person. Someone who legit could have went down as one of the greatest rappers of all time. But the man literally made people wait over a decade for his debut album. I have a whole documentary on Jay Electronica that you guys should definitely go check out. Probably one of, if not the most underrated videos that I've ever done, like no cap, but not a lot of people know that. Before his debut album, A Written Testimony, and even before Act 2, Jay Electronica had 2 projects. In 2018, the internet discovered a Jay Electronica project from around 2000, but he wasn't going by the name Jay Electronica at the time. At the time it was leaked or whatever you want to call it, people were questioning if it was actually Jay Electronica. But I mean, it clearly is. You can tell in the music. The only thing is just that this is a younger version of Jay Electronica and not as polished. But I mean, this is his early music that we're talking about. For a little minute, the album was on SoundCloud, but it was soon to be taken down. But that's where I come in to provide you guys with the link so you guys can listen to it in full and tell me what you guys think. For the time being, I'll play you guys a couple tracks to prove that this is for real.
Everybody witness the power as I reign supreme. I lay low in the cut and rise to the top like cream. I've been rhyming since the days of old, since Christian Dior, below waves and gold. When he got back down, my man called a slug to the jump from a dog with a check 9. I watched them pass away, and so I fast and pray, because I came to the conclusion, this is real life, not an illusion. Gotta refine my mind so I can shine divine and get rid of this confusion. Money won't match that fast cash, you might get that ass blasted, crash, go to jail, free pass, flow, shine, use your mind, get on grind, recline, fine, everything I'm seeing is mine.
If you guys want to know more, then definitely check out the link in the description. And now we're going to talk about Jay Electronica's time in Detroit. While in Detroit, Jay Electronica befriended associates of the late Jay Dilla, RIP by the way, and also RIP to Phife Dawg in like the last segment. And they began working closely and collaborating with people like Mr. Porter. Now, the story behind his other project, War with the Dragon, which is the second project that I managed to get my hands on, is that from what I've read, before it was a titled project, War with the Dragon was a collection of songs that Jay had recorded over the winter of 2002 and the spring of 2003. Once it was completed, Jay would drive from Detroit to New York to put it in Diddy's hands. He was hustling CDs outside of the Bad Boy offices until he managed to get a meeting at Bad Boy. They would wait for the meeting, but sadly it never happened because at the time they were filming Making the Band, and it ended up taking a long time, and Jay and his friends were told they were going to have to reschedule. After that, nothing ever really materialized again, and it was back to the drawing board for Jay Electronica. Let me preview some tracks that I have from that project.
Who rock moves that soothe? I pay dues and stay smooth, never lose. I move, how I choose. They wanna creep the kid and give me the blues, right? You can't lock me down. Got Max behind they racks trying to chop me down. Who's the soul controller? That's the greatest question alive. The best shepherd is he who makes the sheep turn wise. It's the new world order. We build and destroy. You motherfuckers looking at the real McCoy. MCing, Supreme being, all I see in is Jay Electronica. The hell breaks loose. Young boy, what's your name? Your arms too short to box with. The iron arms of Christ smashing your fiber optics. A firebombing your raps, blasting you from the cockpit. You ain't ready to stop dropping rock with the solar rocket. Don't try me.
In conclusion, both of these albums have been found, and I put a link in the description for you guys to enjoy. Originally, when I did the Jay Electronica documentary, I only had access to 7 songs on War with the Dragon, but I found a playlist on YouTube with 9 songs, so I'll just put that link for you guys to enjoy. Longtime viewers of this channel already know that I'm a huge Pierre Bourne fan. Pierre to me really brought a new style and wave when it comes to producing, but not a lot of people know that he's actually a rapper as well and has always been a rapper. He just got big off of producing first. Pierre has released numerous projects and he has previewed or has provided snippets for a good amount of his songs, but one such snippet that has been highly sought after is his song Instagram Thoughts. Y'all know that I don't really curse on this channel, so I'm not gonna say the real title of the song, but y'all know what I mean. But personally, this is one of my favorite Pierre snippets, unreleased songs, whatever, and it's a lot of people's favorites for good reason. If you haven't heard it, then let me play a little for you.
I see the Instagram holding that old boy. 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 I ain't even know you everywhere.
That song is just like magical, man, and that beat is everything. The story goes that Pierre lost the files for the original session of the song. So technically that original session is lost, and that original session, if I'm not mistaken, was a freestyle. You can clearly tell it's unfinished, but nonetheless it does have a good groove. Due to the original session being lost, Pierre would redo the song, and this is a version of the song he would preview in 2020 where we can hear the song more clearer and hear actual lyrics.
If she tryna get chose by me, if she tryna come roll with me, yeah, she wish she could leave. She just flew in and she wish she could live with me, but she can't get.
If the song will ever come out hangs in the air because Pierre notoriously called the song too messy in late December of 2020. This obviously left fans, including me, very disappointed, and something I didn't know prior to the making of this song is that Pierre has talked about an experience that he had with an employee at Interscope Records who he is signed to, asking him where the song is at. Here is what he had to say.
I was like, man, we want Instagram hoes, we want IG hoes. I was asleep. It was like 3 in the morning. somebody from Interscope FaceTime me. I'm like, looking at the phone like, damn, it gotta be an emergency, right? Like, it's 3 in the morning. This nigga talking about, hey, what's up with IG hoes? I'm like, man, what the fuck? Not you too?
In conclusion, it remains very unclear if we'll ever hear the song in CDQ. We definitely will never hear the original version due to it being lost, but this newer version is a fat maybe. People at Interscope seem to really want it to drop, but knowing Pierre and how many snippets and leaks that he has that are grails that will probably never come out is just pretty much in the air at this point. Songs like New York in June, Minute, Lessons, Honeyberry Part 2, Tabloid, etc. we'll probably never get. I think that the T-Lop 5 Deluxe is still a thing, so maybe maybe we'll get some of these songs, but all in all, like I said, it's very uncertain if we'll ever hear the CDQ version of Instagram Thoughts, and the original session of the song is lost forever. This one right here is rather interesting to say the least. The story goes that producer The Alchemist and rapper Earl Sweatshirt made a collab album that was posted on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page. It has a fake album cover with song titles, the whole nine, according to The Alchemist. This was brought to light in early 2019 when Alchemist talked about it on Twitter. This put people into a frenzy trying to look for the album, and now it's 2021 and no one has found it yet. I will say that on the bright side, Alchemist recently has talked about an upcoming Earl Sweatshirt album and called it incredible and said that Earl was in his bag. In that same interview where Alchemist talked about Earl Sweatshirt's upcoming album, he was asked about the secret project that he has with Earl, and he had this to say: "I haven't heard anything about it, man. It's still just floating in the matrix. I can't even really say anything about it. I've been sworn to just leave it alone. It was just one day of madness." In conclusion, according to The Alchemist, the project is out there on YouTube somewhere, and hopefully one day it'll be found.